What is up, everybody? So today we are back here in PC Building Simulator. Not the second one, but the first one. So we're gonna be a little bit back in time. We're not gonna have anything like the 40 series graphics cards or anything, because I don't have PC Building Simulator 2 yet. But I do have a general idea on what we're gonna do today, and that is to build the most normal PC. It's supposed to look something similar to this, basically. Basically a office PC box with decent interior, like interior components, um, and things that, you would just find at a normal desk. So there are like programs that, can only use one core. So processing speed matters a little bit more rather than the number of cores. So, and Intel may win that. So let's go ahead and select our case. Usually with an Office PC, you don't see any windows, so like nothing like this or anything would really work for this kind of build. What would work is something like this, which I have built in before. If we did something like this, built in something similar. Built in a be quiet. Be quiet's always good for these kinds of cases. You know what? Let's go for one of these. So we're going to go ahead and open the whole thing up. No fancy RGB. And we're definitely not going to need... believe we are not going to need water cooling, really. Well, we might. We might need water cooling, but only for the processor. No GPU cooling, and no water cooling the GPU or anything like that. But got two more drive bays which we could throw in, but I don't think we're gonna be using that many drive bays. I mean, we can. So what I think I'm gonna do is pull out these two, because I think we are gonna go ahead and use these drive bays. We'll go ahead and fill everything out, because normally in an Office PC, you're trying to achieve pretty much as much storage as you can. That's what matters the most, is the most storage. So, next we need to choose our motherboard, and our motherboard socket is going to be a LGA 1200. We are going to be building a Intel board. So another thing that kind of matters is speed. Board speed. Now, let's go ahead and choose our cables first before we start putting anything together, because we need to choose our cables so we can have them ready for when we're ready to have this built. I may go with that. May go with the rainbow ribbon cables, because that's similar to the ketchup and mustard cables. If I remember what they look like, could go with these. The red and black is also a choice. So yeah, for cables, I think we're gonna go with, because most Office PCs are things like Dell's, where they are gonna have like the weird looking cables, which is what we're trying to achieve here. That's going to be... Do we go with... We go with EU. Okay, so now we have our cable selected. Let's go ahead and get our motherboard in here. Again, socket LGA 1200. So yeah, nothing too crazy on this board. It needs to look like just a board that would come from like Dell or something. Dell would put in. Definitely would not be an NZXE, not... They may put in an MSI, but that's not what I'm trying to go for. Then you have like ASUS, which, you know, things like Alienware would have. I do like this board, but that's not what we're going for. We'll go with this ASRock, see what that looks like. If it looks like what I'm thinking it looks like, yes, it does. And just to confirm, it does have Crossfire, so we could theoretically throw in multi-GPUs only if we use the AMD ones. Okay, so now for our RAM. Frequency is going to be the biggest matter. Size, kind of. So let's go ahead and grab us the fastest, which I believe is 4800. Yes. Fortunately, I don't want to grab... Actually, what'll make more sense is if I just grab just a couple 4500s. These are 8 gig sticks, so it would make sense. It'd make a lot of sense for this. Nothing special. Just a normal, typical PC. I mean, I know you would normally see, like, green sticks or something like that, but we're gonna stick in a little nicer RAM, because the CPU we're gonna be throwing into this a Intel i7. We're gonna throw in a 10... Hold on, let me think about that. Yeah, we're gonna go with the i7 10700K, because again, as you take a look here, these only have 8 cores. Not like we're gonna really need them, so an i5 would work. But the thing is that speed really does matter on this thing. Because things like AutoCAD and things like that do not work with multi-core processors. They will only use one core. So we don't need anything crazy. Another thing I think I'm going to go with is like more GPU based, a more GPU based build. So another thing is we're going to need to although you're not really going to see it, I think this is what I'm going to go for. You're not really going to see it though. Fortunately, with this, I would have to remove all the drives. Unfortunately, I can't have an NZXT single fan with a temperature gauge. So, let's go ahead and get our fans in. Another thing that's going to make sense is a lot, and by a lot of airflow, I mean a lot of airflow. These kinds of builds typically require an immense amount of airflow because they're just office PCs. All right, they're sitting in an air-conditioned room, obviously, but they really do need to push around some air because even though you may think, yeah, gaming gets the processor hot, office PCs can get pretty hot more consistently. They will stay hot longer and will be hot on a longer standpoint rather than, just, in the more graphic intense moments, and then your PC will get a break when you're not using as much like demanding stuff. Whereas the Office, things like AutoCAD and other things like that tend to require that. So you need to keep everything cool. Let's go ahead and get our CPU cooler on there. I think we are going to go with the NZXT. I think we're going to go for a triple red. See if we can put that in there. No, we can't. This is going to be an annoying build. Alright, how about what a nice little Corsair. No, sticks of RAM are going to be too tall for that one. So I kind of get it. So I think our best choice is going to be trying to push as much air across this. So we're going to get an air cooler and the most airflow possible through an air cooler. 157 airflow, not too bad. We got 171, which I think I can shove in this machine. I've never used this fan, so... And whenever I say I've never used this fan, I've never, ever have used this fan in this game until now. That's because even, like, I've never really built a PC that's going to be able to hold this, and now I have, so let's get some more fans up in here. Let's get some, I think I can hold 3 140s, so we're going to need to get this thing out of the way. So I do know what's going to go in there. I'm going to stick our thermal paste in there. We got to get our fans in there first. These are also the best fans in the game, so if you're ever wondering what are the best fans, not the most expensive. I mean, we're not even talking anywhere near. It's these. I full on actually went through the list, and these are even the 120. If you're looking for a 120 and you're looking for the best airflow, it's this one. I've gone through all that. I gotta remove this drive bay real quick. It'll be placed back. I know it will. This thing's gonna have a lot of air going through it. We're gonna have a lot of negative pressure. Unfortunately, I can't sit here and just switch the orientation of the fans, so... Another thing we gotta plug in back in is our cooler. And we got to go with this. Why? Because there's nothing fancy and it will do the job. This thing says it blows a lot of air, it's going to have a lot of air blown on it. I think it will work just well. We gotta get this power supply. I think I can actually stick more fans on. Yeah, it's actually kind of funny because I actually can. We do have 2 more drive bays down there, so that's nice. Not that we're probably going to really use the bottom 2. We're probably going to use only these top ones. Next up, our power supply. What kind of power supply are we gonna go for? Let's get the maximum amount of wattage. Not that it would need it or anything. Another thing we need is our graphics card. And then that kind of thing is a 3070. Now we're gonna go for a normal 3070. Nothing too fancy, nothing RGB or anything. Because we don't need anything ridiculously powerful. We just need it to look like an office PC, basically. Next up, we got to add our drives in. Now, most offices don't run NVMe in the M.2 NVMe drives, so perfectly normal for it not to have one. One thing that they do like to have is these platter drives. So I will put in as many as this board and power supply will let me. Because unfortunately, I've actually been trying to, and the thing is that so an unfortunate thing about this game is I have a lot of limitations. So I try and build a server and try and max out the amount of drives that are in a PC, and I don't know, it just does not work. Another thing is the solid state drives. Just your normal SSD. So these Kingstons look the most like a Samsung drive, so that's what I'm gonna go with. That'll be our boot drive. A lot of this is just like for extra storage. So now we gotta go ahead and do the fun part of cabling this up. So cool thing about this thing is it won't get too hot. Kind of looks like an office PC. I like the cables, the red, yellow, and gray. Sometimes you see green in these kinds of builds, but they don't have the actual ones I was wanting to use. That's okay though. So we gotta go ahead and get everybody hooked up. Gotta connect the fan hub. And as you can see, there is a lot of red and yellow down there. It is just straight up a mess. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and remove the bottom 2 drives then. We'll go ahead and remove these 2. We'll go ahead and put the body panels in. Put our dust filter back right there. We can put that back. Go ahead and put our power supply mount back. We can put on our front dust filter. I know I'm building a lot of this. Go ahead and get our beauty panels back on, because we don't need the other 2 drive bays. Power supply just will not accept it. Unfortunately, that's a lot of my limitations in this game. I will build a PC that has a lot of drives, and it just will not take them. I got plenty of SATA connections, though. That's a nice thing. And I know these fans are going to be wired up really weird, but not that anybody would care. Okay, so now we have everything put together. Just putting the HDMIs and the USBs plugged in. And we will see how this thing decides to run. So as you can see, there's nothing too special about this. It totally looks like you would probably actually have this in an office. I know this one definitely is. This one, here, let me open up this one for you. This one really does look like it should go in an office, but it definitely shouldn't. Well, for some things it would. This thing has 2 3090s and basically the best thread dripper. There's a lot of cores in this machine, so that one's for like, I don't know, a lot of video editing. You need a lot of storage to be workable on this machine. That's what you use that one for. This is very much a normal machine. You wouldn't even think of anything of it. Let's get our USB stick in. It's been a minute since I played this, so don't remember where everything is. Let's go ahead and double check and make sure. So we do have overclocking on the CPU. That's okay. We won't use it. We'll use XMP. We'll use an XMP profile. Our boot drive is gonna be a SSD, because I don't want to boot on those drives, those big drives. Those are not boot drives. Those are for me to, those are expansion drives running programs and stuff that are going to use a lot of storage. A lot of drawings and things like that are going to be stored on it. So, you're going to need that kind of space. Yeah, you're going to need 16 terabytes of storage. I forgot to download the system info. Give me 1 minute, I'll download that. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at what this other one has scored at. This one scored at a 2551, which isn't too bad for what this machine is. I mean, it is a Threadripper. It's not meant to be crazy fast. It's meant to be crazy fast in the fact that you're not going to run out of cores. So this is an 8-core system. Has a 3070 in it. We are drawing 108 watts at idle. Case temperature 21 degrees, 22 degrees, somewhere around there, which is pretty nice. Memory clock speed is 4500, which is a good speed that's maxed out with what the RAM can do. Physical memory used 1 gig, that's pretty normal, 16 gigs of memory. It is recognizing everything, so we can collapse this, set this over here, go to 3D Mark, and we can run this and see what. Very good for it being air-cooled. Next up, our GPU temperature, which is where a lot of our wattage is going to be pulled up at. And our GPU is still running at a nice cool 50 degrees and pulling 350 watts, which is awesome. This machine is running exceptionally cool, if you think about it. If this, I would actually probably attempt a game on this, ain't gonna lie. Nice 3070 and an i7. This thing is straight up square off. No bottleneck. And you would have plenty of storage for even your Steam games if you tried to play on this. A lot of video storage as well if you were a YouTuber or something like that. So you definitely have plenty of storage there. This is definitely not a gamer's PC from the look of it. You could say it was one. I would probably actually build this in real life, probably with newer stuff, probably like a 13th gen Intel, and probably a slightly new graphics card and stuff like that. But I would probably actually buy something similar. Now, unfortunately, one thing I do notice here is we only get 3 USBs in the back, the Ethernet and the headphone jacks, and not very much is going on back here. So the tendency is yes, this is a board that you would probably actually get from somebody like Dell, HP, or anybody like that in that matter, where you don't get very many ports in the back. A lot of your display ports are from the graphics card. So this thing scored a 12,257 nice old points, and in a nice cool 57, somewhere mid 50s, mid to high 50s. unfortunately, we have the front 140s, which is pushing out, pulling in, I should say, pulling into the case from the front. We're pulling in the same and forcing out the same out the top. And unfortunately, we have another 120 pulling out the back. If it was the case, I would think that would be okay for the most part, because hot air wants to rise, and I would want to push hot air out the back. I would probably put a little slower fan, or not even have a fan in that fact, in the back. Reason being is because I am one of those that kind of does say that you should have either a neutral pressure or slightly positive, because you don't want to be sitting there just drawing out as much air. You want to push as much air, especially when you have an air cooler. But I mean, yeah, for it running 56 degrees and having it mostly negative, having a negative air pressure, that's not bad. So I think we're going to go ahead and end the video here. Anyways, you know, you could throw in another graphics card. You could go and throw in AMD graphics cards. You could have more than one. Still would make sense for an office PC at that point, especially if you ran like the Vega graphics or something like that, or the VII graphics card, which, you know, it works great. This machine, I would say, would run you, back in its time, would run you for a while. It would still be able to run you today. I would probably suggest you upgrading to a 12th or 13th gen, if you could, or once you could, especially if you could just upgrade to an i3, because an i3 even would still beat this thing. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave off the video here. If you liked this video, go ahead and leave a like. If you, want to go check out some more videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. What are you waiting for? I mean it. This thing is awesome. I'll even come back and build another PC, because I haven't done this in a while. I'll build another PC a lot like this. Actually, I'll build a office PC and a gaming case if you want me to make that next. If you have any suggestions, also leave those. Anyways, thank you for watching, and UTGM out.